It's all fun and games until HR shows up, is the saying that is in my office. I'm going to be interviewing my senior HR manager who has a lot of years working in the HR field in different industries and have been through a lot of situations. So, my audience is going to be my classmates and people who are trying to start their career in HR, and it's a very important role within every company. Without HR, there is no real company. There are a lot of things people do not really know about HR and how complicated it is, and to complicated and how it comes down to the last detail for everything. So I'm going to teach people on what HR really is and how it helps a company be able to function properly. What is HR and how it relates to the working environment? The main point that HR focuses on is the recruitment, management, and providing direction and guidance for the people who are work in an organization. It also helps the company have processes and programs within their company. Provide the knowledge, necessary tools, training, administrative services, coaching, legal, and management advice. So those are basically the main functions that HR does within organizations or companies to help make sure that everything is flowing properly that it should be. Two, how things are typically done in HR. Everything is done in HR with a purpose and regulatory reasons. I would say HR has to be more like a lawyer inside of the company, with how many regulations there are for many different reasons. HR is responsible for organization development that generates a culture of the organization. They are charged with oversight responsibilities to ensure that the organization appropriately builds teams and inspires employee empowerment. So then it goes into employee relations. Well, does anybody really know what employee relations is? So, employee relations refers to an organization's efforts to create and maintain a positive relationship within its employees. By maintaining positive, constructed employee relations, organizations hope to help keep employees loyal and more engaged in their work. When it comes to employee relations, HR department has two primary functions. First, HR helps prevent and resolve problems or disputes between employees and management. Secondly, they assist in creating and enforcing policies that are fair and consistent for everyone in the working place. So that's basically the main function of employee relations and how HR is involved within all of that. Now, secondly, how things can go wrong, and kind of there are some things that you could do when things go wrong. So, when things do go wrong, HR puts strategic organizational change into practices to enhance quality, productivity, and employee satisfaction. Devise an effective training program. So maybe go back, look at training, or kind of do a refresher training. Create and establish a reward system that keeps employees motivated. Design benefit package and evaluate their value. Establish principles for developing, harnessing, and retaining talent. Use big data to enable knowledge business decisions. Leverage technology to assist in create of talent pools where leaders may emerge from the future. So let's dig a little deeper in with the HR world. How to deal with specific situations. There are always more than one side to the story. So make sure that you get every side before you start making any type of decisions. Um, before you know what step to go on to make. Always make sure you do each individual interviews with whoever how many other people the problem has involved with it. That's what I would say the main solutions and things like that with that. So interviewing and scheduling. Every company conducts interviews to judge your personality, the strengths and weaknesses, your capability to handle the role that we're trying to hire for, to check your background, and to understand if you're the right fit for the job. It generally lasts. HR generally goes in the last round of the panel interview. So, kind of the recruiting process is to identify the job vacancy, analyze the job requirements, review applications, screening, shortlisting, and selecting the right candidate for the role. Now, after you do, the recruiting process, the interviewing, and the scheduling, and then it goes on to the, what are you going to offer the candidate and kind of the onboarding. So, experience, market, industry, personality, compensations are all things that HR looks at when making an offer to someone. Those are all the main factors that go into play of when and how they come up with a number. And also onboarding, getting all the necessary documents that is needed from the candidate before they can start, and also making sure that they can pass their drug screen and background. That's the main thing. Keep the employees safe at your current role. In the current company. Always having someone pass their drug screen and background check, just for safety reasons within the company. Now, the big picture of the HR. Training new employees and current employees. This is key. Helps people begin and able to perform all of their daily functions and do them correctly, making people learn how the company does things exactly and learn how they need to do all their functions within the company. Say, you bring somebody on from a different company. Well, each company does things differently, so there definitely needs to be training on that so that way they know how to do their daily functions. Some things might cross overlap, but there's a lot of things that don't within each company. Also, when people come in to audit you as a company, you need to make sure that you always have things to back your decisions up. This is kind of really big and where the regulatory comes into. You need to make sure you can say why you chose this candidate over another, or why this or why that. So always document your stuff, everything that is going on for interviews. Make sure that you write down everything that's said in the interview. Make sure you write down everything you talk about with the hiring manager and why he kind of decided one candidate over another. And this goes on to evaluations. This is a document that is needed to be filled out when you're doing interviews, so you can go back and talk about the interview and why the candidate was stronger than another. And also, thirdly, kind of new processes. People do not like new processes. I've noticed that in the HR field, people tend to not like to implement these new processes, especially if they're used to one process, because they just don't understand why. They always like to change things to make the process run more smoothly, but people think that they do not matter, and in reality, it's a really big deal. Also, HR trains on the new processes and make sure that they are being followed. That is definitely a big thing because people don't like to follow them because they don't think that things are a big deal, but they need to really realize that things that are in their department that we might not feel are really important, they know is important, and that's the same thing with HR. If they say something and something needs to be done, something needs to be put in place, it's there for a reason. It's there because it needs to be done. They don't like to say stuff just to say stuff or have something do the paperwork because we want you to. It's always there for a purpose. Always listen to the HR. They know what they're talking about. And to sum it all up, in the end, HR is the main thing that helps companies run efficiently, effectively, so they can run smoothly as they can. All the points that I have brought up are reasons why HR needs to be in place and help the company. There is reasons why there are so many departments within the company, and that is so that they do not have to make skills where they cannot get anything done. It helps people focus on one part in a company so things can get done right the first time.